And there's no better guest to have on board than our future Olympian, Chris Baxter. He's going to be having a chat with me today. Just going to go through the questions. He's preparing for the Paris 2024 Olympics. That's going to take part in July. And he's a professional rower, obviously. That's what his sport is. But on to Chris, bro. Tell me, did I give a good enough introduction, or do you want to fix it up there?
Yeah, so it's pretty good. Preparing for the Paris 2024 Games. I am under 23 world champion, current world record holder in the men's pair for the under 23 event, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
I made the mistake of saying a double, and Nick and Chris before were busy looking at me with like, bro, why are you even going to talk to me? Like, the disrespect.
Yeah, please get it right.
Get it right. So for the viewers, it's a double, it's not a pair. So when you see them on the
pair,
podium,
not a double.
Exactly.
Either way.
So, so basically, yeah, Chris, as he said, 2024 Olympics, it's pretty cool. How far are you now? It's about 3 months. 4 months.
3 months. Still got a few big competitions coming up that we're preparing for. But yeah, you know, it's taking every day as it comes. One day after the next, trying to get all the marginal gains that we can.
Following on that, what you just said, now you obviously going to Switzerland, bro. Your weekly training regime, your weekly training split, time on the water, strength training in the gym. Can you just give me a rough breakdown as what you do from Monday to Sunday?
Yeah, so we obviously train from Monday through to Saturday. Often we will get Sunday off, so rest day. And yeah, anywhere between 2 and 3 sessions a day. Normally, morning session will be on the water, anywhere between 18 and 22 Ks. Sometimes there will be some threshold pieces, some max pieces thrown in there. And then Monday, Thursday, and Saturday we have strength work, which will normally be midday. And then on a Monday, if we have a third session, there'll normally be a run late afternoon. And then on the days in between that, there'll either be an ergo or like a watt bike steady session. And yeah, that's pretty much.
Off the top of your head, obviously on average about 3 sessions a day. The weekly volume, the weekly total in hours, how many hours would you say you?
I mean, I'm not too sure about the hours. So we normally work off like Ks per week. So I think this last week we were at around 180 odd, and then previous week we were on 205, I think it was. So quite big volume during the week.
And now obviously, like world champs that you previously trained for and raced in, leading now into Switzerland, how's the volume going to decrease, increase? What's the plan for the next few weeks to come?
I mean, I don't think obviously the volume will decrease a little bit, not too much, because we well, at least for us, the guys that are trying to qualify the bullets for the games, they're going to be on a slightly different program where they're looking to have the slight taper going into the certain. But I mean, for John and myself, you know, our goal is ultimately the game, so we don't necessarily want to have a taper too soon into the season. And yeah, I mean, you know, we're looking to keep up the big miles, but then obviously put in some sprint work, some high intensity pieces to get us ready for racing.
No, awesome. Now that obviously you've explained how you encompass that whole everyday athlete lifestyle, just on the water, in the gym, going for the run, the cardio, your mobility, all that work. I want to kind of go in deep into the story and ask, where did this all start? We've obviously chatted prior to this podcast and to try get you on, and you gave me a brief introductory to that. Where was the start in rowing? Where were the hurdles that you faced in rowing? And could you just give me that whole story and go into depth? I want to hear it all.
Yeah. So obviously I went to King Edward Pacific School, and originally I had actually wanted to play water polo, and I remember I went on. My older brother went to Cares, and my dad was very involved in the school and in sports, and so he obviously knew all of the coaches for various different sports. So he spoke to the master in charge of water polo and was like, look, my son is coming to Cares next year. He wants to try out water polo. Can we get him in some pre-season training? Remember, I went to one session and I was like, this is not the sport for me. This is not for me. And so yeah, I mean, my stepbrother went on a rowing camp, the rowing camp before we go into grade 8, and my dad came to me and he was like, look, Philip's going on the rowing camp. Do you want to go just to keep him company so that he knows someone? So I was like, why not? Water polo is definitely not for me, so why not try something new? So yeah, I went on a rowing camp, and I fell in love with the sport. Some of the hurdles, I wanted to quit when I was in under 15 and go play basketball, because the coach was mean to me, I'd say. I didn't like how he treated me compared to the other guys. Luckily the MIC of rowing sat me down and was like, look, you've got a few more weeks with this coach, and then you go into a different age group, different coach, new opportunities. And yeah, so stuck to it, and I think probably one of the biggest turning points in my schoolboy career, but also that just put me on the path of where I am now, is in under 15 at SA Champs, we came second in our A art, and as sportsmen do, you turn to the guys that beat you and say well done, and good race. And Benny's who beat us looked at us and laughed at us, and I was gutted. I remember getting off the water, going to my dad, and crying in his shoulder. I'm like, I'm never losing to these guys ever again. And as an age group, we decided that we're gonna start training 2 weeks later for the following season. So yeah, we went after rugby games. We went to the Vaal to train. I remember in between the Easter festival, so the Saturday game, we left after the game, went to the Vaal, then came back for the Monday game, and yeah, it was that decision of not really not wanting to feel like that anymore, or feel like that again, and yeah, that kind of just then persevered through the years. I went to Junior Worlds in 2017 and 2018, and both years I came fourth by point something of a second both times, which kind of made me that more hungry for the to win a medal or to improve my results. After high school, I joined the senior national team in 2019, and at the time we had a coach coach that was quite intense, and you know, there wasn't like a buffer onto the senior program. You know, you came in and you basically went at it from the start. So I got quite a hectic back injury around February 2019, which I was then on and off of the bike and, you know, to physios throughout the year in 2019, and then I went to under 23s. We came 5th in the Cox 4, and after that I was like, clearly something's not working in the like with the medical team, because, you know, my back was still really sore. So I took a step back. I saw a bio that my dad knew, and got my back sorted. Came back in 2020, joined up with the team again, and then obviously COVID happened. Trained through lockdown. When the restrictions lightened up, we went back onto the water, trained in the water, and we had our own little problem at Röderplaat with the Eisen, so we then had to train at the Val, and we went, so Monday to Thursday we were at the Val, and we came home Thursday afternoon. Friday, Saturday, Sunday we were on the Ergo, and then we were back at the Val on Monday. We did that for 3 weeks, and then we'd be at home for a week, and then 3 weeks, which was quite tough as a younger athlete in the team. But yeah, I mean, I found I was really improving at that stage, and we had a set of trials, and I don't know how I was the 3rd best sculler in the team at that point, and at that stage where I came 3rd, the head coach came to me and said, look, if you want a shot at making the 2020 games, well, then push back to 2021, you're going to need to swap sides. So I originally was rowing the stroke side, and he was like, okay, you're going to need to swap to bar side. So I said, look, you know, it's my dream to go to the games. I'll do anything. And so I swapped sides, and then I was put in a pair with Sandra Torrenti, and yeah, we trained together. We did everything, and then we were about to go on a high altitude camp to Lesotho, and obviously still with the COVID regulations, we had to get a COVID test, and we actually pulled a time trial on the Monday where we had a test, and I PB'd, and then later that afternoon, I remember I went home back to Joburg to like get all my stuff for the camp, and a message came through on the group saying, look, 2 people have tested positive. If you've been in contact with these people, please let me know. And it was someone that I actually spent pretty much every day of the weekend with. So I sent the doctor a message. I was like, look, I've basically spent my whole weekend with this guy. What must I do? And then she was like, okay, well, your test came back negative, but just isolate for the time being, and we'll see what happens. So I was like, okay, cool. Left my mom's house straight away, and then went back to my apartment in Pretoria. And the next day, I was man down. I couldn't leave my bed, and I was like, okay, this is me now. So anyway, got all the meds from the doctor and everything. Team went off to camp, stayed at home, and after the 2 weeks went by, I wasn't getting better, and luckily both my parents are doctors. So my mom was like, look, something isn't right. You should be feeling better by this time. It was almost going on 3 weeks. So we went and had a scan done to see if the COVID had affected my lungs. Bearing in mind, I actually still didn't have a positive COVID test that whole time. So we went, we did the scan, nothing came up. They're like, okay, your lungs are all good. Went back up to my mom's office at Bedford Gardens, and as I sat down in the chair, I was like getting some sweets from a little cookie jar or whatever, and she gets this call, and being her son, I could hear in her voice that something wasn't right. As she answered it, I'm like, this isn't good. And as she answered it, the next thing that came out of her mouth was, does he need to be admitted? Then I'm like, something is really not right. Anyway, so they were like, no, he doesn't need to be admitted. And she's like, okay, cool. Put the phone down, and then she's like, so there's not like, COVID hasn't affected your lungs, but they look more, and they found a blood clot in your pulmonary vein.
Shit.
And I'm sitting in the seat, and I'm like, what? I'm a 20-year-old athlete, probably the fittest I've been in my life, and now they're telling me that I've now got this blood clot. And apparently, according to my dad, my mom played it down really well, because when I told my dad this, his reaction was completely different. He was like, you can't do anything, you can't exert yourself, the blood clot could dislodge, and then you could have a stroke and die. And at that point I was like, I'm never rowing again. This is my dream done now. So went on blood thinners, and then 2021 basically did nothing. Probably the toughest year of my life so far. After rowing being what I did for so long, and it almost being my escape, to then not being able to do anything was kind of like this massive blow, and you don't really know how to deal with it. Luckily we went for scans, and they saw that the blood clot had gone away. But then they're like, okay, well, you're still going to feel the effects of it for the next 6 months. So I was like, okay, well, there goes the rest of the year, pretty much.
So is this now 2021 still, or 2022?
2021.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went for a scan. Pretty much the middle of 2021, gave me the all clear, and then okay, but you're still gonna feel it until August. And I was like, okay, well, can't really do much. So I slowly started to get back into running. I'd try to run for 2.5 K, it would be absolutely done. And then obviously in this time I started looking for jobs, trying to become a little bit more self-sufficient. Didn't really work out too well. But yeah, then end of 2021, I got a call from the head coach, Thiago Loureiro, and he was like, look, I want you to come back to the team. We started this new project, and yeah, I want you to be a part of it. So I was like, okay, cool. Met with him, and yeah, it went really well. At that time, I was the only under 23 perspective in the team, and so I was like, okay, I want to go win the under 23 men's cup, because that was the boat class that I thought I was going to be in. The next year, 2022, my pair partner who I rowed with in school came back. He stopped in COVID for different reasons. But yeah, he came back, and so we formed a pair. And then we went on to win the under-20 women's pair. And in the process broke the world record.
Sure.
So yeah, so that like just made it even better. Rowing together with him for 7 years, pretty much. And that was like our goal, was to win a gold medal at the like on an international level. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a feeling that I'll never forget, and something that I really want to try and explain, but you can never find the words that will do it justice.
And that leads into that next question. Now listening to this, the amount of adversity that you've gone through, and that initial comment you made with the Benny's guys looking over and laughing at you. Being on the water, committing yourself every single day and all this time, a big question I like to ask, obviously all athletes, individuals, high performers, so to say, what drives you daily? What keeps you ticking? Obviously, that laugh didn't keep the discipline, the motivation, the drive. There were other factors that, what was that factor, or if there were multiple, that is a standout that keeps you doing what you're doing day to day?
I mean, I think it's very cliche, but I have a dream. My dream is to go to the Olympics, to win a gold medal. And yeah, I mean, if anyone tells you that they wake up every day and they're like, yes, I'm going, it's an amazing day, I feel absolutely perfect, they're lying to you, because there are days where I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to get out of bed. I just want to lie in bed, send a message on the group, got a little bit of a scratchy throat, got a little bit of a stomach bug, but you think back to like when you're on the water, you're like, okay, you have this dream that you're trying to chase. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter. Something that John likes to say to me is, no one cares how you feel through the middle of the race. The world that we're racing, they honestly don't care how you feel, and you need to go in with that mentality. Like, it doesn't matter if you wake up and you're a little bit stiff from gym the day before, or from pieces the day before. You have to. You've committed to the process. You've committed to the person that you're in the boat with. That sometimes you just have to show up. There's days where my legs are. I get to Dan and I say to John, my legs are toast. I don't know how we're going to get through this 22K. But then you being upfront with the person that you're rowing with, you being honest with the person that you're rowing with, and then you can go from there. You can have a little bit more of a technical paddle, or you can break it up a little bit more. So I think it's like looking at the bigger picture, really. For me, honestly, it's just you've got that goal. You've set the goal yourself. It's not like someone else has said to you, okay, I want you to go to the Olympics. It's something that you're setting for yourself.
It's self-driven. I like how you said, just the way you've built a relationship and with that other person in the pair. It's not only your goal to go to the Olympics, you're also being held accountable by that individual. And quite an important characteristic, what you're saying there, is being honest and upfront, black and white. You're not coming half-hearted and saying, let's just do it, and then 5-10K, so be it. Your partner saying, Chris,
Yeah.
what's going on? From the get-go, you're being direct and upfront. You're saying, dude, I don't feel good. He knows exactly by the amount of hours you putting in basically half a marathon on the water. He knows you inside out. He probably knows you better than what you know yourself.
Yeah.
And vice versa, you probably pick up on characteristics that he might not even recognize, which is very common, obviously, athletes and just in relationships. You see what they put out, and sometimes you yourself don't even know the limit that you can go to. And you're saying, you know what, I feel I can only give this amount, and he's like, no dude, I don't know how you perform. You can give that amount, which is, it's quite a cool dynamic.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, like, it's quite funny. The other day we had pieces, and I was feeling terrible, but something that our coach said to me back in 2019, you know, he said sometimes you just have to fake it till you make it, and on that day, that's what I was thinking to myself. I was like, okay, like, you're not gonna go there and I mean we had quite big pieces, and you know, you're not gonna go there and straight up front before the pieces start say I feel terrible, because you know then someone might see that as like an excuse as to, if you have a bad piece and you go, oh no, but I told you that I felt bad. So yeah, like I kept it to myself, and I said, you know, I'm going to get through these pieces, and we didn't have good pieces. Tiggs came to us and he was like, you look flat, you look like, what's going on? And so I said to him, I was like, look, and this was after the pieces, I was like, I don't feel good at all. And then John looks at me and he goes, okay, but like, you need to tell me that like before the session, so that I know, like, yes, maybe we're not going to be rowing the speed that we normally are, but if we're nailing the technical points, you know, that's probably as much as we can do. And so for me, that was a lesson. You know, you have to be upfront with the person that you're rowing with. You know, you can't. Sometimes you're gonna have to say, I don't feel good, or I'm a little bit on the edge this morning, and you need to be able to have those conversations with the guy that you're rowing with.
Completely, like you say, at the end of the day, it's not just your goal, it's his goal as well. And quite fortunate in the sense that, remind me, this is his 5th Olympics he's going to? Fourth Olympics. So he's already got that experience, this being your first, with more to come. So obviously you're learning a ton from him, which you're still a junior phase, which you can carry on. So when you're at his elite level, not that you're not at his elite level, but you know what I mean, age and experience, 100%. You're going to be passing that down. And he's not coming to you and saying, he's saying it for fun. He's giving you constructive criticism to just be better, basically.
And I mean, he knows exactly what it takes. He's won a Olympic gold medal. So yeah, I mean, you know, when it's almost like when he speaks, you know, you want to listen. It's not like it's coming from just anybody. He has the experience.
And for those I just want to interject here. I follow a guy, Ross H.D. I don't know if you've ever read any of his books, but to set context, he's done crazy adventures. He's climbed the same distance what it would take to climb Mount Everest on a rope. He swam the whole of the English Channel over like 100 days. But the reason I'm explaining this is, I think it was Loughborough University. He went and he did the workouts, what is equivalent to a 2-kilometer time trial. And he wrote it in his book. He's published about 3 books as a PhD sports scientist. And that workout consisted of, I think it was 500 reps, 500, 600 reps. But we're talking about taking 50% of your 1RM back squat and doing like 200 reps. Then 50%, basically on average 50% of your 1RM. So even if you're squatting, let's say 180, 90 for like 200 reps is you're in the trenches.
Yes.
Out of interest, personally, because I enjoy this side of things, that 2K, when you're on that erg, when you're on the water, what type of pain are you going through?
Yeah. Honestly, it's like a feeling of like lactate coming out of your ears and your eyes. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit weird. Like, often people say that rowers must like pain because, to do that over and over again and like to actually look forward to doing it. Thinking about it now, it's a little bit weird. But yeah, like every inch of your body is burning. Often it's like at the point of where every muscle in your body is going into cramp, and I don't actually know how to like do it justice in trying to explain, but yeah, honestly, I've never felt a pain like a 2K erg trial or a 2K race anywhere else. I enjoy cycling, I enjoy that type of stuff, but never felt anything quite like it.
And tell me your 2K time, what is that at the moment?
Currently my 2K PB is 6:01.
6:01, sure, that's okay.
Trying to get under 6 minutes, but it will come.
What is the world record in your respective weight class? Off the top of your head, do you know? Or just in?
I have no clue.
No clue.
It's low 5 minutes, like 5:20 something, I think.
So in grade 8, well, there was a guy, it's Vincent Briett, he was Benny's boy.
No, he went to 2016 Olympics in the fall.
2016, I think he also went to the States. Was it not Harvard?
I'd be lying to you if I told
Stanford, Harvard, one of them, and he was also genetic freak, tall also, but he was like a first year and he was part of their 8, which was like an accomplishment that I don't even think the Americans did it. Like it was a South African went there, was part of the 8. I know he was pulling on that, obviously, on the erg, some crazy numbers.
Yeah, no, I've heard his numbers are quite insane.
And inspiration with regards to rowing, the guys that you would say you look up to or have looked up to, because South Africans produce solid rowers.
Yeah.
There's a few names. Another Garth Holden, he was a year below me at school. He also went. He was, I think, a year or 2 above you.
Yeah.
So we do produce rowers that are on that world stage, and obviously yourself, John, compete at that level. But when Benny's guys are laughing at you, you're 15, 16, there's somebody you're busy looking up to and saying, I want to be like that rower, or what was that person, would you say, or multiple people?
At that stage, I wasn't taking it quite as seriously as I do now. But from around like under 16, I actually learned that my aunt went to 2 Olympics for South Africa. So yeah, she was always a big role model for me. Funny enough, John Smith. You look at this guy and quite honestly, he does not look like an athlete. He'll say it himself, but
we're gonna clip that up.
His knowledge is absolutely insane. His knowledge about the sport is bird feel. Like the likes of Sean Keating, also a kid as an old boy, really looked up to him. And yeah, I mean, pretty much everyone that, you know, you're at such a high caliber now, you know, to be on par with everyone, you know, you kind of have to respect them just as much as you respect the guys that you look up to. You know, we often say, or John and I often say, you know, we want to row like the Kiwi men's pair. That's probably one of the best rowing crews. And you know, yes, we want to row like them, but we don't necessarily want to be like, we don't want to be them. We want to be our own crew. So yeah, you know, just yeah, trying to edge our name in some history there also.
And as you say that question and answer it as you must, your predictions now 2020, you go in there, podium, in your head, you're busy looking at that gold every single day. That's what's etched. It's not, because you get individuals that go to the Olympics to compete, which is understandable, to just get onto that stage. You're part of the top BMX, for instance, 24 guys in the world. To be a part of the top 24 in the world is already such an accomplishment. John, he's won a gold. You're rowing with an Olympian that's won a gold. He's obviously going there to try and put that.
Yeah, so I mean, I found it's not something that you know you're able to talk with or talk about with a lot of athletes. Like I feel like a lot of the time, certain like different types of athletes will, I won't say be scared, but like, you know, they can't say, yes, I want to go to the games and win a gold medal. But yeah, I mean, myself and John have sat down with our coach and we said straight up, we want to go to the games and win a gold medal. And you know, we know it's not going to be easy. We know it's not going to just happen. But we're putting in the work now. That's going to hopefully enable us to do that.
So going into that, and I love the way you answered that, just that mindset of saying our goal is to go there and win. It's quite a simple objective. It's either go there, win, lose, whatever, that's the goal, and you summed it up really well there. Your day-to-day now, you've told me you go through right at the beginning, pretty much 3 sessions, Monday to Saturday, on the water, strength, be it cardio. In that spare time, what are you doing? You spoke to me previously about trying the corporate working and obviously rowing, which rowing already, like we knew in high school when guys started rowing, it was like, yo dude, there goes your weekends. Like you have nothing. It makes complete sense if you're spending half a marathon on the water and stuff, looking at like 4-6 hours a day, travel time, eating time. Just give me a brief backstory and stuff, your day to day, like what are you doing in the time that you're not training? Which is not a lot of time.
I was actually asked like the other day, what do you do in your spare time? And I was like, I don't really have spare time, in all honesty. But yeah, I mean, when you're not training, it's trying to recover as much as you can. I mean, you know, we're trying to perform at the highest level. So you're not going to, I mean, obviously you have to go out and buy the groceries and do all of that stuff. But where you can, you want to be recovering as much as possible. You want to be relaxing as much as possible in between sessions or after a big day of training. But yeah, I mean, I tried to do the working thing. Didn't work for me at all. You know, trying to balance the commitment of rowing and the commitment of the job. It's not for everyone. It's not easy. And I mean, I didn't particularly go into an easy work environment. I mean, try to be a financial advisor, and you know, working with people's money, it's a little bit tricky. So yeah, I did that for about a year, and then I decided, it's it's definitely not for me. Put all my focus on rowing, and yeah, I mean now when I'm not on the water or in the gym or on the ergo, I'm trying to recover as much as possible.
And tell me now, obviously, and this is the hard-hitting questions, your funding, a lot of individual sports is not unknown to people. Like South African sports funding is not where it should be. It's not at the level. You're busy hitting those sessions, you're not working. How are you getting sponsored? I can see obviously R&B, there's sponsor behind you. Like how are you being helped, would you say?
Yeah, so IMB are our big sponsor. They've done really great work for our team. Kept us going for the last few years. Paying for tours, for boat hires, and all of that. But yeah, I mean, most of the team are self-funded, either by their parents or trying. A few of the guys coach for schools. So yeah, it is a pretty tricky situation, trying to manage, obviously the professional athletes, but then you're not really getting any funding in or funding into your pocket, to take care of the groceries or the petrol or that type of thing.
Which kind of speaks to the cause, because a lot of the guys I've spoken to, the likes of Alex, Submission Kicking's Big L, why you guys are so successful in your respective field is that it's passion driven. It's not necessarily, wow, I'm rowing for South Africa, I'm going to the Olympics, I'm getting this big paycheck, or every month I can go to it's literally whatever you get is into training, eating, recovery, and then you're lucky if you even break even, or you work to the point where you are breaking even. So, which is very interesting. Obviously, in today's day and age, sports growing astronomically, and you can see there is a lot of money in sports. It just comes to the point of branding yourself, and you'll see a lot of influencers on Instagram and stuff get the deals, get the sponsorships, get the things with, in my opinion, and I can be shut down, kind of hollow standing. There's nothing really to show for it. Cool, you can do a cool movement, but my big drive with this podcast, to be honest, is to kind of show what's going on and get the funding, get the sponsorships, get the deals to the guys that are going to the Olympics, standing on the stage. Because it's quite frustrating, so to say, where you sat down now, you're the second Olympian, Alex being the BMX, also preparing for Paris, where he's busy welding, working on the weekends, and then racing, and welding's not an easy job. You're like literally in the factory the whole day, and he's sending me videos doing sprints on his street. And this is somebody that was in the top 24 in the world. So, from your side, what would you say and would help you out the most?
I mean, like, obviously the groceries and you're trying to perform on the biggest stage in the world. So you obviously have to fuel properly, eat properly, all of that stuff. So yeah, I mean, like, having or being able to fuel properly is probably one of the biggest things. We have just recently got a Biogen sponsorship in with the team, So that's kind of taking care of a lot of the supplements, a lot of the things that we use on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, I mean the groceries, the petrol, driving to the dam every day. Yeah, that's normally where most of the money goes.
Yeah, so obviously, and that's probably something that weighs in on your head, which for most people it would, like paying the bills at the end of the day to be able to do what you're doing, but pretty much paying it so that you can go fly your flag over there. And it's kind of crazy because I've spoken to other people about it and stuff, like you guys are grinding away now, busy pushing, trying to get those deals, and you don't really honestly have the time to go market yourself. Like you don't have the time to, okay, I'm gonna jump on the erg and then record. It's like I'm going there to hit my numbers. I'm not going there to put on a whole like brand. And basically with you don't having the time and that, but when you do go to the Olympics and you are standing on the podium, a lot of people are going to be like, yo Chris, we were there for you, we were in your corner, we were helping you out and stuff. And like I've seen that happen before, where it's now the time comes and you get the cool photo with the Olympic rings and you're in the kit and everyone's like, I know that dude, like, and you stand there almost, example, I don't know if you've listened to the podcast, but Alex went there with literally his bike on his shoulder, and he was just alone, but then he came back and everyone was like, yo, this Olympian, and he was like, where were you? Like, exactly. It's that, like, what goes through the brain with that?
I mean, I think obviously as an athlete, you know, you're always looking for sponsorship opportunities, and you know, unfortunately you can't necessarily you know, when they do come, if they've turned you down before, you can't necessarily say, you know, where were you 2 months ago type of thing. You know, you have to look at it again in the long term, the bigger picture, because if you, like me, if you're trying to go to the next Olympics, you know, you're gonna have to have someone to back you. So yeah, I think it is a bit of a tough one, but I think at the end of the day, it's looking at your own longevity. You know, you have to think about your bigger picture and how are you going to pay the bills at the end of the day when it's not a month after the Olympics, it's 2 years into the next cycle, and you're looking at this sponsorship deal that you got from the last cycle, like, okay, this is ultimately what's saving me. Yeah, I think I actually had the chat with my girlfriend Michaela. You know, I was like, you know, we've approached so many people, and you know, obviously with rowing, it's not widely broadcast or televised, and you know, it's not as big as it is in some of the other countries. So you know, they like, you know, we're not looking to sponsor any new athletes, and I'm like, if we stay on the podium and these guys come back, all I want to say is, where were you 2 months ago? You know, and you can't do that. Unfortunately, you have to think of the bigger picture. You have to think of what's going to happen 2 years into the next cycle, 3 years into the next cycle.
Which shows complete humility. Obviously with Alex, he didn't come back and point fingers, and I'm using him as reference because I saw the story unfold. I haven't seen with other Olympians as intensely. But closing on that, I wanted to ask you, and something I'm starting to ask all my guests. I took it from a book written by Tim Ferriss, Tribe of Mentors, where he basically asked questions to all his guests that are very similar, and they give their answer. And one of them that stands out for me is, if you had a billboard anywhere and everyone could see it, what would it say on that billboard? And I'll give you a bit of context to what previous guests have said. Tomo, a rowing coach as well, miles make champions, that's a common one I've heard. Artist from Samurai Farah, pay your rent, no poison, success leaves clues with me, and do hard things.
Yeah.
So there's some cool, very like if you look at those, what have been said, very similar in some sense, where it's like, just get the job done, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
What would you, if you had that billboard, put on there?
Yeah.
What do you live by day to day?
I mean, Tomo, I know Tomo quite well, and yeah, miles make champions. But something that John and I often say to each other is, you know, it's the mind-numbing miles that, you know, no one else wants to do that are going to put you in front of the field. It's the sitting on the 2.5 hour water bike that you get halfway and you're like, this is the last thing I want to do, but it's those mind-numbing miles that will put you ahead.
Sum that up perfectly. You know, I said it's just doing what others aren't doing to get to what you want, which I really enjoyed that. I'm glad I got to obviously interview you before Olympics. I'm definitely gonna say, yo Chris, let's see post Olympics, which I'm keen to see. I just want to see how that story unfolds either way. Like, I have full confidence. Obviously you got a gold Olympian, but just listening to the type of training you guys are doing, the mental, I'd say, resilience and fortitude that you have just sitting across from you, but going there and hitting that goal, there's nothing really stopping you besides yourself. But to kind of close off, what would you say, like, shout outs you want to give on the podcast, with thanking sponsors, what you just thanks to somebody like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think without R&B, our main sponsors, we wouldn't be where we are at all. So yeah, R&B, and then obviously Biogen for keeping us going. And then yeah, just pretty much just to my family, my support system. I mean, they've believed in me even when I couldn't see it. So yeah, just that.
No, that was awesome. Honestly speaking, as I said, I'm definitely going to have you back on. But from my side, and just to close off the podcast, I see what these athletes go through. The session, sometimes I'm too scared to even hit the session because I'll probably end up in a trench somewhere. But guys, I'm gonna, every podcast, every athlete that I sit down with, like, encourage and just try push to just stand behind them, be it financially, be it support, a message. Like, people don't understand what it takes to wake up every single morning, sit on that rower, sit on that bike, the mental struggles and battles that to actually get out of bed. And it's not struggles, it's just like getting that discipline. But basically what I'm trying to say is just get behind those guys. It doesn't take a lot to show support, be it in any realm that you can and that you can help out with. I know all these guys greatly appreciate it, and we've said it. So in closing, I'd obviously like to thank Chris. I know he's going to go and hit that goal that he set out. He set it on tape now, so he kind of has to stick by it. But yeah, thanks from my side, and thanks Chris for coming on.
Thank you very much, man.
Legend, bro.